Think about the last time a year ended. It felt like it lasted about 3 weeks. But when you were 7 years old, a single summer felt like it would never end. Something changed, and it wasn't the calendar. You assume time moves at a constant speed. It doesn't. Not to your brain. Your brain doesn't measure time in seconds or minutes. It measures time in memories, and the number of memories you form is shrinking every single year of your life. Here's the strange part. This isn't a metaphor. It's a measurable psychological effect. Researchers have a name for it. They call it the reminiscence bump, and it explains something almost everyone feels, but almost no one can explain. Let's go back to when you were a kid. Everything was new. The walk to school, the taste of a food you'd never tried, the rules of a game you were learning for the first time. Your brain was working overtime, encoding every detail because everything demanded attention. Newness forces your brain to pay attention, and attention is the fuel that creates memory. Now think about last Tuesday. Can you actually remember it? Probably not in detail. You woke up. You did roughly what you did the day before. Your brain didn't flag it as important, so it didn't store it richly. It got compressed or deleted almost immediately. This is where the science gets interesting. Psychologist William Friedman, who has spent decades studying how people mentally reconstruct time, found that your brain doesn't actually track duration directly. Instead, it estimates how much time has passed by counting how many distinct memories you have from that period. Fewer distinct memories, and a whole year can compress down to something that feels like it barely happened. So, why do children form so many more memories than adults? Novelty is the biggest reason. A child's daily existence is soaked in new information, new words, new places, new social rules, new physical skills. Every day is, in a very real sense, a new set of firsts. Adulthood is different. Routines settle in. The commute is the same. The job is familiar. The neighborhood no longer surprises you. Your brain, sensing nothing unusual worth flagging, simply stops laying down as many rich, retrievable memories. Here's the part that should make you slightly uncomfortable. This means the sensation of time speeding up isn't really about time at all. It's about how automated your life has become. There's also a mathematical explanation layered on top of the psychological one. When you were 5, 1 year represented 20% of your entire life. That single year felt enormous because relative to everything you'd ever experienced, it was enormous. But when you're 40, 1 year is only 2.5% of your life. Proportionally, it's tiny. Your brain appears to measure time not just by memory density, but by this kind of internal ratio, whether you're aware of it or not. Put those two effects together, and you get a compounding illusion. Less novelty means fewer memories. A longer life means each year is a smaller fraction of the whole. The result is what scientists sometimes call time compression, and it accelerates quietly with every passing year, almost never announcing itself until you suddenly notice how fast last December arrived. But here's the twist that most people never hear about. This effect is reversible, not through some trick of willpower, but through something you already know instinctively. Novelty resets the clock. Think about a vacation, even a short one. 3 days in an unfamiliar city can feel longer, richer, and more expansive in memory than 3 ordinary months at home. That's not a coincidence. It's because every hour of that trip is packed with new sensory information. New streets, new smells, new faces. Your brain, forced to actually pay attention again, starts laying down memories the way it did when you were a child. This is why nostalgia hits so hard for very specific, narrow windows of your life. Researchers studying autobiographical memory have found that most adults, when asked to recall vivid personal memories, disproportionately pull them from their late teens and early 20s. That period is loaded with firsts. First independence, first real relationships, first failures that actually mattered. After that stretch, memory density often drops off a cliff and the years blur together. So what does this mean for you right now, today? It means the sensation that your life is rushing past isn't a warning that time is broken. It's a signal that your days have become repeatable. Your brain is, in a strange way, being honest with you. It's telling you that very little has stood out enough to be worth remembering. And this is where it gets personal. Think about your last 12 months. Try to name 5 distinct days, not categories like that trip or that birthday, but specific days with specific sensory detail. For most people, this is genuinely difficult, not because nothing happened, but because nothing was different enough to register. This has an unsettling implication. If your brain estimates the length of your life by counting distinct memories, then a life with very little novelty will, in retrospect, feel shorter. Not metaphorically shorter. Literally shorter in the internal record your brain keeps. Here's the modern trap. Convenience culture is built to remove friction, and friction is often where novelty lives. Same food delivery app, same short-form videos, same commute, same conversations. Every convenience that saves you 5 minutes today may be quietly shortening how long your life feels when you look back on it. You don't need a dramatic life change to interrupt this. Studies on memory formation suggest that even small deviations from routine, a new route home, an unfamiliar restaurant, a conversation with someone outside your usual circle are enough to spike attention and, with it, memory density. Your brain doesn't require chaos, it requires contrast, which raises an uncomfortable question. If you keep living exactly as you did last year, how much of this year will you actually remember a decade from now? That's the quiet cost of comfort. Not danger, not harm, just forgettableness. So here's the reframe worth sitting with. Time isn't accelerating, your attention is contracting. And attention, unlike time itself, is something you still have some control over. The next time you feel like a year has disappeared without a trace, don't blame the calendar. Ask your brain a different question. Ask it what, in the last 12 months, was actually new. If the honest answer is not much, you've just found the real reason the year felt short, and you've also found the one variable you can still change before the next one disappears just as fast.